Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Hi, I'm Beaumont and welcome to Top Gun Sales Management. In this series, we're looking at how to build high-performance sales teams to exponentially grow your business. And the topic for this interview is when should you hire a full-time sales manager for your business? That coming up in just a moment. Welcome to Top Gun Sales Management. I'm joined by our expert trainer, Wayne Berry, and we've been discussing over the last few episodes everything you need to know about how you can become a great sales manager and how you can build a high-performance sales team. Now, this interview, we're actually going to go in another direction. We're going to go even further because you've now become so busy and your team has become so large where you need someone to hire someone else for that role as a dedicated person to become the sales manager. You've been filling in because your business is just getting off the ground and growing, but now it's become too big where you've got to hire someone for that role specifically. So how do you hire a sales manager is the topic of conversation. Wayne, thanks for joining us.
Very good.
All right, now this is a very interesting one. We're going to be talking about sales managers and how to find them. Let's talk quickly a bit about your experience because you started selling when you were 17, but became a manager yourself, a sales manager at the age of 21, and for over 40 years you've been working in sales and also running sales teams. Tell us a bit about your experience as a sales manager.
Yeah, look, I was very, very lucky in that I had a sales manager who was extremely good, and he trained me, he coached me, and he got me in sales at a young age. When the company said you had to be 25 years of age, I was only 17, and he moved me into sales. He recognized something in me. I then moved to another branch, and I had an entirely different sales manager, and an entirely different experience. Until I moved branches, I thought that all sales managers were like the guy that originally trained me. His name was Les Seary. And I moved from Brisbane to Melbourne, and I encountered another guy who wasn't supportive, who wasn't a good sales manager at all. And he did inspire me, though. He inspired me to leave. And he had very high turnover on his team. And I left, and I got into sales management for a company competing against that company because I was offered the opportunity. And so I made the transition from sales to sales management, and discovered that all those skills that I had in sales really didn't help me at all in sales management. And of course, we spoke about that in the previous episode. So the role of sales manager was very, very important. And yes, I was a sales manager at a young age. And I guess it's why I'm doing what I'm doing now. I discovered that as a sales manager, I could get results through people. I could leverage myself through people. And that's an incredibly important skill to have. And we've spoken in previous episodes about the importance of being a good sales manager yourself. And when you reach the point where you've got to replace yourself and recruit another sales manager, that's the starting point. As I said in a previous episode, how do you recruit good salespeople? Firstly, you have to be one yourself in order to recognize a good salesperson to recruit them. And then you need to be able to lead from the front by being an exceptionally good salesperson yourself.
So following that through, how to find a great sales manager is to be a great sales manager yourself.
First, absolutely. Then you'll know how to recognize a good one who comes along. Then you'll know how to manage a good sales manager when they come along, because you'll know what they're supposed to be doing. And again, I spoke about this in one of the really early episodes. Some entrepreneurs, some business owners abdicate their responsibility in sales by hiring a salesperson so they don't have to do the job. And of course, if you're not good at sales, you bring in somebody and you abdicate your responsibility and you put all of your eggs in that basket, hoping that that salesperson will be good for your business. And what if they're not? Same thing in sales management. If you bring in a sales manager not knowing how to find a good one, what they look like, how they would behave and what they should be doing, it's a recipe for disaster. It really is. So you need to be a good sales manager first, and that'll help you to recruit somebody to take your place.
Okay, now when is the right time to hire a sales manager in your opinion?
Well, again, I guess the question is very similar to, I think, the first episode we spoke about. When is the right time to hire a salesperson? And that is when you need to spend more time working on your business, I beg your pardon, on your business than in the business. So it's when you really now need to spend more time developing your business and you don't have the time really to continue as a sales manager. I think that's probably the time when you need to make the shift.
And is there a metric in terms of the number of staff the number of sales team? Then you need a sales manager for X number of people?
Look, once you go over, I think a sales manager can successfully manage a group of around about 5 to 10 salespeople at the most. So this is often what happens with the company. You start with a few salespeople, you get a team of about 5 or 6, then you open another branch often, and then you need to put another sales manager in that branch. So it happens that you ideally have clusters between about 5 and 10 maximum salespeople who report to a sales manager. That sales manager then reports to either a managing director who also has like a national sales management responsibility. So that's generally the structure that you eventually get in the larger companies.
Okay, and when you're looking for this person, are you hiring someone full-time, or do you start with someone part-time? There's even kind of almost like outsourced sales management service companies these days.
Yeah.
Do you recommend them?
Look, I truly don't recommend them insofar as if they're devoting only part-time to your business. I don't know how you can be a part-time sales manager. I find it very hard. I mean, if you're doing your job properly as a sales manager, you're providing full-time support and full-time support, training, and doing all of the things that a good sales manager can do. I don't really believe someone doing it part-time shows the level of commitment required to the sales team to care for them as a full-time sales manager would do. So I really don't subscribe a lot to going down that path.
And when advertising for the position, should you look for within the company first or hire someone from outside? And sometimes you may be thinking, well, I'll just maybe choose the top sales performer and promote them, but now they're not selling anymore and bringing in revenue, they're managing everybody else. What's your suggestion there?
Look, certainly you can look within your organisation to see whether there's somebody you can promote into that role. And again, your number one sales performer isn't necessarily going to make your number one sales manager or your best choice of sales manager, because frankly, if salespeople are doing really well, why would they take in many cases a cut in their pay to be a sales manager? Because most sales people who are very, very good earn much, much more than the sales manager, which is kind of ironic when you think about it.
And yeah, I'm glad you said that, because some people think, I have to now pay them more than the top salesperson is earning. That's not the case?
No, not necessarily the case. However, I do suggest that you structure their remuneration where there's a base and there's a car and there's other things, but give them an incentive to get great results from the team. So their income is dependent on the results being produced by the team. And certainly, you can structure it in such a way to allow them to make a very good income, certainly as high as some of the good salespeople, and maybe even as good as the exceptional salesperson. Don't put a limit on it. But, very often good salespeople will be making a lot more than the sales manager.
Now, there are tens of thousands of sales managers out there, but very few of them have done any type of formal training in sales management. They've kind of learned maybe on the job through trial and error, or they were good at sales and they decided to take an office job so they could not be out on the road, or maybe they actually didn't enjoy the selling part and they wanted to hide behind a desk. How do you know if they're actually really good or not? Because oftentimes there's no real formal qualifications apart from just having a title on their business card.
Look, I think you said that really well, in that I sometimes think that I rave on a little bit about incompetent sales managers, because many of them really are. They truly were maybe good in sales or mediocre in sales, but got promoted to sales management. They've never done any formal training in sales management. They don't know how to do that job, and I call it bumping around in the dark. They bump around in the dark, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And again, a team is always a reflection of the manager. So if you've got an average performing team, you've probably got a pretty mediocre kind of sales manager. So we find the best sales manager we possibly can from either within in which case they've probably got no sales management experience at all, or we look for somebody from the outside who hopefully has got some track record in sales management. But again, you've got to bear in mind, just as you said, that very often sales managers have had no training. So the success they've enjoyed by bumping around in the dark, trying a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And if you can find someone good, you can give them the opportunity to be even better by upgrading their sales management abilities and being as good a sales manager as you have been, because hopefully you have done some formal training and been mentored as to how to be a good sales manager. So you
I'm
can
just
then
going to repeat it again. How to hire a great sales manager is being a great one yourself.
Absolutely. Because again, you will attract so if you're a poor sales manager, the best you can attract is another poor person. If you're an exceptionally good sales manager, you can attract a very good person, because again, it is leadership. You have that leadership. You become attractive for somebody to come and work with you through what they can learn from you, what they can become, who they can become by working for your organization. And again, how do you work out whether somebody's got what it takes? Same thing as we said about bringing a salesperson on board. You put them through some kind of assessment. You develop your own assessment, your own way of assessing, is this person who understands something about sales management? Or, for example, use our online sales manager SWOT. We call it something different. We call it a sales manager SWOT analysis and team.
Strengths, opportunities, weaknesses,
Yeah.
threats.
Yep. So it's a little kinder on the ego of the sales manager. We, instead of calling it a sales manager competency assessment, we give them an opportunity to do a SWOT analysis on their strengths and what strategies they could improve as a sales manager. And we also, in that, give them an opportunity, if they're already on the team, an opportunity to profile their existing salespeople. But obviously, if someone's coming from the outside, you can put them through a SWOT analysis like that and have them interviewed by somebody who knows, if you don't feel totally confident doing it. And you should do it yourself, obviously. But this is where we do it as sales coaches. We interview, and we interview by video conference anywhere in the world. And we make recommendations as to whether this person is worthwhile bringing on or not, whether they're coachable, whether they have the right attitude. And sadly, some sales managers are as good as they're ever going to get because they're not coachable. They believe they're really good, and the reason they think they're really good is because they've been told they're really good by people who know no better. And you know yourself, when you get into businesses and you get into people, you suddenly realise how much, and I don't really want to be unkind, but how incompetent people are, and you can't blame them if they've not had the training. But there's a lot of mediocrity out there amongst salespeople and sales managers. So you don't want to make that mistake. You bring on the best you can possibly get, and then train them to be the best they can possibly be.
And in the interview process, when you were talking about in recruiting salespeople, you spoke about giving lots of scenario-based kind of questions.
Yeah.
How would you? I'm guessing there's a whole other set of scenarios for sales managers, right?
Absolutely. And we've designed an assessment which asks those hard questions. Similarly, the one for salespeople, we put them into certain scenarios. So same with sales managers, we ask them.
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.